Yes, hello, Maria.
Hello.
Nice, nice to have you here. That is our first live stream. We are streaming live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So it's our first experimental live stream. Um, I think so. My standpoint is that people should do things. Success relies is 80% showing up, and that's what we do. We are showing up. This live stream is going to have probably many mistakes from many aspects from our presentation and from technical point of view, but the intention is that we start so that we can improve. So I would say, like, tell us first of all who you are, and then I will introduce myself, and let's take it from there.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you for inviting me to do this. I thought it was a great idea. When you came up with this idea, the previous week, I had made the decision and put it in my goals that I was going to start doing LinkedIn Live. So, you know, somebody heard me and got the
Yes,
message
maybe
to you. So
maybe
thank you very much.
the
Yeah.
universe had like we had a connection. So it was something that I had in my mind since months now, but work always pushed it and pushed
Yeah.
it, and I said there comes a point that I said, well, now I'm going to do it, whatever it takes, and I will start that because
Yeah. And
otherwise we whoever seeks perfection never starts anything.
no, exactly. And I think it was the kick in the pants I needed. So thank you very much. That was
Yes, you
great.
are welcome.
So I help leaders transition into their new roles, and that's basically through coaching and mentoring, training. I've been doing that for a year now. So previously, I had a whole life, 22 years in a corporate environment. I worked for Sotheby's, the auction house, and in 2020, I left them and decided I want to do something for myself, and moved to Spain from England and decided to open my own business. So that's where I am now. It's been a year. It's been a huge learning curve, but great, really interesting. I met loads of amazing people such as you,
Yes.
and I'm learning every day. And there you am. I'm doing new things also, such as LinkedIn Lives. So there we are.
How do you feel having your own business after being 22 years in the corporate world?
It's exciting, scary, and exciting. Uh, I, t- I I think my last years in corporate, I felt like I needed to find a purpose. I didn't feel like I was doing anything for my soul. My husband was working in charity. So I felt like he was the bright side and I was the dark side working for the money.
Yeah.
And I felt I wanted to do something that made me feel like I'm contributing to people personally, helping them really. And I felt like I was doing that in my job, to be fair. I loved my job, but I felt I could do more, and
Mm.
it would not just be all about the bottom line, the money, but more about the people, which is the side of my job that I enjoyed the most. So I thought by becoming my own boss, I get to choose who I work with, when I work, and where I work from. Hence the move to Barcelona.
And I think this freedom gives also people the creativity
Yes.
to do their best. So for me, having experience, I had my own business in Greece. This business unfortunately collapsed. At some point, it died. And when I came to Barcelona, that was 10 years ago, I worked initially in some big corporations here, and I hated it. And the reason why I hated it because I felt very restricted on all the things that I had to do, not to say, the diplomacy, the politics
Mm.
within a bigger organization. So that was not me. I wasn't happy. So it's for me. It's you need to find what works for you, what suits you. So um, there are tough times where you say, oh, I wish I was an employee and I had this fixed salary every month. But at the end of the day, I don't regret a single moment being an entrepreneur or a freelancer.
Yeah, definitely. I can empathize with the moments where in the last year and a half I've been thinking, have I made a terrible mistake? Can I do this? Is it something that you know that I'm going to manage to maintain.
Hmm.
You have those days, and I think it's about showing up consistently. It's about being consistent, building good habits, believing in yourself, because if you don't believe
Absolutely.
in you, nobody will. And just and as you said, taking action. I think that's the most important thing. It's taking action, doing things, going out, meeting people, connecting with people, speaking to people. If you just stay at home waiting for things to happen, it won't.
Yeah, so, and I feel, I mean, compared to many friends that I have that work in corporates, I mean, who is more secure at the end of the day? I mean, what happens if they fire you tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean,
Then, so
nowadays,
I know how to move. So uh, I came here 10 years ago. I opened my own business, V Paragon, that was 7 years ago. That's a sales outsourcing company. So, but for the audience also to know, that's a company that helps other companies sell their products or services in new markets. And what sparked the idea that made me choose this business is that when I worked in the corporate world here in Barcelona, I was doing exactly the same thing for big corporations. So then I thought, why shouldn't I do that thing by myself? Why should I work as an employee? And that was the trigger that made me start this business. And I exist after 7 years, so that means something. That means that this business is successful. And yeah, it's a tough world. I was in this game before COVID happened. So when COVID happened and afterwards, like the world a little bit changed. So everybody went online and many companies discovered the new way to sell their products and services. But I had the luck, I can say the luck, to be
mm,
in this game prior to them. COVID influenced the whole market in many ways. It influenced positively because more and more companies are finding this way to be the right way to go because they save money and they have a broader reach. From the other side, a lot of competitors came in the market and
mm,
also many low quality competitors, which made the things a little bit more difficult and more complicated for us. But it is what it is. That's the world. That's how it evolves. And let's see what's going to be the next 10 years.
yeah. And what do you find the most challenging as an entrepreneur?
The, Let me say what I find the most challenging in this business that I am here in sales outsourcing for technology companies mainly. We do also some commercial projects, but it's mainly software and technology. There are a variety of challenges. So the number one challenge is to be able to explain your message. So the more complex a product is, and the more complex the market is, it needs to have a small talk first to understand each other's needs. So it's not a commercial or a retail product that you can see directly and you know more or less what it does. It is not the case. The product needs to be explained. It needs to target somebody that has also the education and the knowledge to understand it. So that is one challenge. A second challenge is that many times, because we reach out to the corporate world, we've been perceived from the ones that are supposed to work with us together as competitors. So a sales manager in a company that has been given the task to find a sales outsourcing company to help them sell their products in new markets might not choose us for the reason that he feels we are going to outperform him and he's going to look bad in the higher management. So that's another challenge. And the third and the most important challenge that I face and this new world faces is that this distant working
Mm,
and this freelancing based work makes loyalty from all parts that are engaged. That means from the freelancers that are collaborating with us, but also from our clients, not to be loyal enough to be able to bring um, a connection and to be able to move forward in the future. Short-term products are not good for no one. So I have seen our unique selling point as the loyalty that we want to create between the freelancers that collaborate with vParagon and our clients. So we want loyal clients and we want loyal freelancers that we can work together, come together, and work together efficiently for the next years to come. That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying about loyalty, because I think we're seeing that also in business now, in companies and employees. When I joined the workforce, people who I was working with had been in the company 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And my dad worked his whole life in one company. And now that's disappeared more or less. It's very rare now that people are going to be going into a business and stay for that long. And there's less loyalty from the employees, because there's very little loyalty from the businesses towards their
Absolutely.
employees. And that's something that drastically changed in the last, I want to say, 30 years, where there's been, all these mass layoffs that started in the 90s, and the way, people are very disposable now. Well, I think there's a whole new generation that's coming up and saying, well, you know who I'm loyal to? I'm loyal to myself. And I think they're probably not wrong, but it has definitely changed the dynamic we can see in business.
Well, the loyal to somebody's self, everybody works for himself at the end
Yeah.
of the day. So, but again, to bring results, it's not something that happens within 32 days.
No.
And the way I see it, because we are a sales company, the majority of the freelancers that work in under our umbrella, the Paragon, are salespeople. So I say it's not the number one importance is not your sales abilities. That is also important. However, I would prefer somebody that is I can count with him. It's has a loyalty than the straight and simple sales effectiveness that every day you don't know what's going to happen the next day. Because anyway, the complexity of the products that we sell require a longer period of time. So it's not a do or die goal.
Yeah.
So the maturity from the client side needs to be there to have a certain understanding of these situations. So that is a dynamic that is sometimes problematic.
Yeah, I think one thing that I used to look for when I was recruiting people was common sense, which seems
Yes.
basic, but the number of people who lack common sense is incredible. So that was one of my biggest criteria to working with people, were looking for people who had basic common sense, because those people could learn anything. If they were enthusiastic, engaged, and had common sense, they could learn.
I think it's also a cultural thing, and that is also one, I think, of the big unique selling points that we have in vParagon, and you certainly have, Maria, is that we work in an international environment. We are both based in Barcelona, which is I think it's the most international city, at least in Europe. And you see people from different cultures and different pathways in life that have a bigger life experience. They have emotional intelligence. It's not only strictly numbers, it's not only strictly the technicality, but it's understanding the soft skills and the human connections, and being able to balance in between different roles in companies and in different countries. So I see I see a lot of managers not having the emotional intelligence or the empathy to be able to understand how they can sell in new markets.
I think,
So,
yeah, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was thinking when you were saying this that actually I think sales is something that a lot of people struggle with. I know I definitely, as selling when I was working for a company, I had no problem selling. When I'm working for myself, I found that so much more difficult because the whole and I know a lot of people that suddenly go into entrepreneurship. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is often getting over that hurdle of not being salesy, and how do you sell yourself without being, perceived or rejected. And I think that's a big challenge, definitely. It was a big challenge for me, and still is sometimes.
Yes.
To how do you sell yourself? Because selling something that's not you is, it's okay, because if somebody says no, it's not personal. But when you're selling yourself, it feels very personal, even though it isn't, and you should distance, step back from it. But it is difficult, and I think that's definitely was a challenge for me to get to the point where I feel comfortable picking up my phone and having a conversation with somebody. And the way I got over it was really, it's switching your mindset. It's like you're not trying to sell something, you're offering a service that's going to help somebody else. So you have a solution, they need it. If they don't need it, well, that's fine. You're there to help. You're not there to try and give them something they don't want. And I think it's I don't know if it's a muscle that you develop. And Alex, you have so much more experience here that you're probably going to tell me, but it's definitely something that you need to practice.
I can certainly give you my opinion on that, and I will. It's a very deep topic, so we can discuss for that for the next hours to come.
Yeah,
For the
so maybe
next
not.
So let me go on some punchlines. So the number one is you have to differentiate. So when I started selling, the biggest challenge was the challenge that you mentioned, and how do you overcome that? So I overcame that by creating a different persona of me, that was the Alex with a different name, a similar one, but different. And that was the sales guy, which had nothing to do with me as a person. But if you meditate and you learn to separate your observing mind from your thinking mind and your emotional mind, then this observing mind is going to be in the back, and in the front, the sales is going to do your thinking mind. So in that way, your real you, your observing mind is not going to be involved in the sales process.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard that. So that's a really interesting approach, like being playing a role, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because if you identify yourself and you make it personal, then it's not going to work, because also people are going to feel very weird, because they like you as a person, but they don't necessarily want your product, and they feel compromised, and that compromise drives to a further relationship that it's not desired, neither from you nor from her. So it's a sensitive topic.
Wow.
Let me go to the goals of this
Go
conversation, because this is our first live stream, so we don't expect many viewers today.
I hope so.
No.
I'm kidding.
I would be happy to see somebody like me speak, because I feel that the big advantage that we have, me and you, is that we are normal people, and we are not the superstars that they have the superstar presentation, but we are here to give to real companies and real leaders and real people practical solutions that can improve their business. That is the idea. So the goal of this live stream is that we would like to invite in our next live stream, which is going to be in 2 weeks, and to be specific, on the 22nd of February, again at 5 p.m., to invite interesting decision makers, managers, CEOs, people in leaderships, in companies, that they can share with us within 20 minutes their business, their challenges, what they are searching. And that is going to give the opportunity for them to present their company. But for our audience, is going to be very interesting for other companies to see if they potentially could collaborate with our guests, or for potential freelancers or people that are searching for a work to get to know a company, have a starting point where they can start a communication and take it from there. And the second important goal of this live stream, and the reason why we have it at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 4 p.m. UK, but also 8 a.m. Los Angeles time, is that we want our American friends at the other side of the Atlantic to see us as the gateway to enter European markets. So I think you can be a very good asset and big asset for them to enter not only Barcelona. You are Irish, you are connected in the UK, we are in Barcelona, we know people all around Europe, also people in Asia, and we can be the connector, the people that can help companies expand their business.
We connect the dots.
Exactly. So if everybody that is looking at us is finding this live stream interesting, you can go below the this video. Either if you are watching that on LinkedIn or on YouTube, you can find our contact details, and you can email me or Maria to ask further information, and certainly we are going to reply to you, and hopefully we are going to get connected.
Great. I think it's exciting. We'll see what comes out of it.
That's fantastic. So we are 5:22. We over exceeded our live streaming time. So I would like to thank you, Maria, for this. I would like to thank our audience. I don't know how many people were here today. And certainly we are going to be in 2 weeks here with a guest. It's going to be way more interesting than today. And hopefully we're going to have you with us here in 2 weeks. The invite is going to be sent both on LinkedIn and on YouTube.
Exactly. Well, I can't wait. Thank you for inviting me, Alex.
I can't wait either. Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.